One unread message is annoying, but one message marked read can become a tiny psychological crime scene. The screen says almost nothing. So why does the silence suddenly feel like evidence? Imagine this. You send a simple message to a friend. Nothing dramatic. Maybe just, "Want to meet this weekend?" The message is delivered. Then it is read. And then, nothing. At first, your mind behaves like a reasonable adult. Maybe they are driving, working, distracted, or forgot. But after a while, the detective in your head gets promoted to disaster manager. Maybe they are annoyed. Maybe the group met without you. Maybe you were never as important as you thought. In a few minutes, a blank screen can turn into a courtroom, and somehow you are the person on trial. That is the strange power of rejection. It can arrive as a breakup, an insult, or a door closing in your face. But it can also arrive as something smaller, a delayed reply, a cold look, or a joke that stops when you walk into the room. Tiny cue, huge feeling. So what is the mind actually reacting to? Not just the phone, not just the face, not just one person's opinion. The mind is asking a deeper social question. Do I still have a place here? Humans do not simply like connection. We build our lives out of it. Other people teach us, protect us, open doors, and help us survive moments we cannot handle alone. For a deeply social creature, belonging is not a bonus feature. It is part of the support system. That is why the mind watches for changes in our social position. A smile that disappears too quickly. A group chat that goes quiet. A meeting invitation that never comes. Any one of these could mean nothing. But any one of them could also mean, your value here is dropping. That is why rejection often feels bigger than one event. Psychologist Mark Leary and his colleagues proposed the sociometer theory. The simple version is this. Part of self-esteem may work like an internal social dashboard, tracking how accepted or rejected we believe we are. Not perfectly, not always fairly. But when perceived acceptance drops, the warning light can flash. And that warning light does not just say, someone did not reply. It asks 4 harder questions. Belonging. Am I still part of this? Self-esteem. Is something wrong with me? Control. Can I fix what is happening? Meaning, would anyone notice if I disappeared from this group? But researchers have shown that even a very small version of exclusion can move those feelings. One famous experiment is called Cyberball. A participant believes they are playing an online ball-tossing game with 2 other people. At first, the ball moves between everyone. Then the other players stop throwing the ball to the participant. That is it. No insult. Just a digital ball that stops arriving. And still, across many studies, excluded people reported worse mood and lower satisfaction of basic psychological needs than included people. But the social alarm does not wait for the rational mind to write an essay. It sees the pattern first. They are connected. You are outside. And to a social brain, outside is not a neutral place. This is where a popular claim often appears. Rejection hurts because the brain treats it exactly like physical pain. It is a powerful line, but too neat. Brain imaging studies suggest that social rejection and physical pain can recruit some overlapping systems involved in distress. In one study, people who had recently gone through an unwanted breakup looked at a photograph of their former partner while thinking about the rejection. Some brain activity overlapped with responses to painful heat. But overlap does not mean the experiences are the same. A breakup is not a burn. An ignored message is not a broken bone. Rejection can feel physically urgent because social threats and bodily threats use some of the same distress machinery. Your mind is not making up the importance of belonging. It is trying to get your attention. And that makes sense when you remember what humans are. We are not solitary machines. For most of human life, support from others meant information, protection, care, learning, and safety. We cannot rewind evolution and prove one perfect origin story, but a mind that ignored every sign of exclusion would not be well built for a social world. The catch is this: an alarm can warn you, but it cannot think for you. It can say, something may be wrong. It cannot always say what is wrong, who caused it, or what you should do next. That is why the same fear can produce completely different behavior. Some people move closer. They become helpful and careful, searching for the way back in. Some conform. If standing out feels dangerous, blending in feels safe. Some disappear first. They leave early, stop speaking, never send the second message, and hide the work they want people to see. And some people attack. Laboratory studies have found that exclusion can increase aggression under certain conditions. Not because every rejected person becomes violent, but because hostility can create a temporary feeling of control when belonging feels unavailable. So one alarm can create 4 scripts. Please accept me. I will become what the group wants. You cannot reject me if I leave first, or I will hurt you before you hurt me. Different behaviors. Same fear underneath. My place with other people is no longer secure. And this is where the system can become dangerous, because a useful alarm can still be oversensitive. Research on rejection sensitivity shows that people who anxiously expect rejection are more likely to detect it in ambiguous behavior. A tired face becomes disapproval. A short reply becomes anger. A delayed answer becomes abandonment. Then the person reacts to the rejection they believe is coming. They become cold, defensive, demanding, or distant. The other person feels the tension and pulls away. Now the distance is real. The alarm seems correct, even though it may have helped build the outcome it was warning against. That is the trap. The mind tries to protect belonging, and sometimes it pushes belonging farther away. This does not mean rejection is imaginary. People really do exclude, abandon, mock, discriminate, and humiliate one another. Sometimes the alarm is identifying a real pattern, but the useful distinction is not between real feelings and fake feelings. The feeling is real. The first story may not be. Fear of rejection is not a weakness to delete, and it is not a voice to obey without question. It is a signal, and signals need interpretation. Because think about how much of life this signal quietly edits. It decides whether you ask someone out, disagree with the confident person, share an unfinished idea, admit that you need help, or tell the truth about who you are. It can even decide whether you become the version of yourself a group rewards, even when that version no longer feels like you. Rejection does not only hurt after social life happens, the fear of it helps design social life in advance. It changes rooms before anyone speaks. It keeps unpopular questions unasked. It keeps apologies unsent. It keeps people inside groups that diminish them and outside relationships that might have welcomed them. All because the mind is trying to protect one of the most important resources a social creature has, a place among other people. So return to the message. Delivered. Read. Silent. The silence may mean rejection. It may mean distraction, stress, busyness, forgetfulness, awkwardness, or something you cannot see from your side of the screen. Your discomfort is evidence that the relationship matters to you. It is not automatic evidence that you know what the silence means. That may be the most useful way to understand the fear. The alarm is real. The story is a possibility. And your worth is not a verdict that one silent screen gets to deliver.